Hello and welcome to another Best in Tabletop BITREP. That's right, it's a rapid-fire battle report for Warhammer 40,000 of the 10th edition variety, coming at you hot and fresh in late 2023? 2023. There's not that many 20s. I'm Tyler Bortel.
It's your boy Lucas.
And we are bringing you BITREP TNG number, a bunch of them. We've got a spicy matchup for y'all here featuring some very pretty armies on a honestly not very pretty table, but let me tell you, next year it's going to be great. I'm playing the Endless Swarm today, pictured on the bottom left, featuring Alex Harrison's Ice Latte in the bottom there. And what do you got, Lucas?
I got the Chaos Space Marines, baby.
Ave Dominus Nox, my dude. Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your list.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool list. It's still running the 10 Terminators with Abaddon because I just finished painting them and I wanted to put them on the table. And by God, I was going to do it. Yeah, we got some... Man, this was so long ago. I honestly kind of don't remember what was in my list. I think I've got like 3 squads of Nurglings, Mr. Scribbles, the 2 Forge Fiends, 10 Cultists. I've got 1 big squad of Chosen with a Lord in a Rhino. And then I've got the big Terminator brick, and then like 2 or 3 squads of Warp Talons, something like that. I think it might be 2. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just some CSM good stuff.
I'm pretty sure you brought 15. I'm pretty sure. I could be.
Yeah, just to kind of hard counter you, dude.
Exactly. Sweet. And over here, I'm playing my Endless Swarm list. A little bit of proxies going on. Apologies on the front end. I didn't have my other 2 Exocrines in yet, so those 2 things that look like Maliceptors at the top left and the bottom middle are also Exocrines, along with the irregular Exocrine in the middle there. We got a Turvagon, we got Death Leaper, we've got the Neuro Tyrant with the plus 3-inch pile and consolidate enhancement. We've got 20, 40, 60, 80 Termagants, only 80, and 20, 10, 10, that's 40 total Gargoyles, which you can see are arrayed across the board there. 22 Neurogaunts, a pair of Neurolictors, a pair of Pyrovores, a Biovore, and a 3-man unit of Venomthropes rounds out the list. Deployment-wise, you can see we're doing some pretty typical stuff. We're playing Vital Ground, first of all. Vital Ground, Crucible of Battle, Chilling Reign, I think. No special rule here. I've got these Gargs all piled up in this giant ruin up in the left there that you can see. And then everyone else is just sort of spread out. We're playing on WTC terrain here, which is really, really dense. The great thing about the way I've deployed here is that other than, and those couple of gargoyles that are hanging out of the building, they're actually in the intermediary floors. Our terrain just didn't have the right number of floors on it. So as it stands right now, Lucas's Forge Fiends will have 0 targets if he goes first. That's how dense WTC terrain is. I'm playing like 200 models and I can hide completely. So definitely trying to take advantage of that here. Playing some tight angles. What do you think about your deployment over here, Lucas? What's going on?
I'm mostly just trying to position my, each of my Forge Fiends in a place where they can eventually get some shots onto the objectives, and then put my Terminators in a central spot where they can kind of respond to whichever side feels the most threatenable. And then... yeah, just kind of like spread the field and be ready to get a bunch of secondary cards. Primary is going to be difficult this game just because the amount of OC that Tyler has. So I need to, every secondary point that I draw, I need to be able to accomplish. So I ended up going with tactical this game, which I feel like is pretty standard against the Swarm since they don't really give up any kills. And then you also took tactical, right?
I did indeed. Yeah, need those darn commander points if we're going to get anything done this game.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the trade-offs you have to kind of be more willing to take when you don't have the Tyrant, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm going to bring back squads on the regular, I'm not going to do anything else if I'm not playing tactical.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go ahead and get the ball rolling here. There's the first turn roll-off, and if there's 2 things I know about Tyler, he never fails a 9-inch charge, and he never goes second. So we got the Tyranids with turn number 1. And it's just going to be like every other game you've seen in the last umpteen years of the Gargoyles preventing me from playing the game. Very sick. And so, what are your turn 1 goals here, Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. So turn 1, I'm going to draw Deploy Teleport Homer and Capture Enemy Outpost as my secondaries, which is not a bad turn 1 draw at all. I got to burn something to get a command point, so Capture works just fine for that. And as much as you might try to spread out, you're playing a pretty small unit count army here. So You can't really screen in your whole DZ from a teleport homering spore mine, so that's going to be an automatic 5 points. So don't need to think about secondaries, just thinking about positioning here. Now, we got the Neurolictor versus Nurglings happening on both of those midfield objectives there. Got to have those classic skirmishing fights. But the big ticket item here is the Gargoyles. Now, one of my favorite things about WTC terrain is these mega 3-story solid L's that you can hide anything in. And they're great for gargoyles because even though they're 6 inches tall at the top floor, if you go flat 18, as I will by spending a command point here for auto advance 6, you still go 17 inches horizontally, just like Pythagorean theorem. It's real funny. And then they'll get to fire and fade their extra 6 inches after that. So we're going to do a really good job of just making a mess of this top left flank here. If you like move blocking and you haven't tried this army out yet, you're missing out, brother. This is the good stuff. We're going all out. We're going to try to do a couple things here. So Lucas has that 5-man Chosen squad in front of the Rhino, which are obviously an issue because they fly, which, the Chosen, they're going to get stuck behind the Gargoyles. The Terminators stuck behind the Gargoyles, but the Warp Talons can be a bit of an issue unless you block them anyway. They need somewhere to land, both on the move and the charge, and if you don't give them that opportunity, they might have a real tricky time getting many places. So the goal is to swamp down that side of the table, keep the Neurolictor safe, and preserve that bit of primary there. Vital Ground is not a high primary scoring mission, and this particular terrain set, where you can't even hold either of the midfields behind a piece of terrain, and we've both got a lot of very scary guns, means that if I can eke out some early primary here, it's going to be a big deal. And then we'll try to see if we can get ahead, stay ahead, get my primary up a little bit, keep Lucas's down, and then try to run away with the game before he swings back too hard on bottom 5. So that's the big picture strategy. Gargoyles going up. We're going to run a couple of cute plays over here on the bottom to try to finagle stuff here. Death Leaper is an absolute monster in this matchup because he does not care about Warp Talons. They're not especially good at killing him. He fights first, and he's pretty darn good at killing them. And once he kills one of them, they'll be in his aura of, oh no, you have to take a leadership check for being under starting strength. So suddenly they're maybe not holding their primary down so well. He's -1 leadership. They're only leads. Are they lead 6? Lead 7?
Who?
The Warp Talons. Lead 6?
6.
6, yeah. So he's going to run on over there. The Termagants are also going to run on over there, and they're going to go out and just barely touch that objective, taking it, because the Nurglings obviously can't hold much. And the great part of this combo is that if you want to go deal with the Nurglings and go charge them, get them off of the objective, you'll get with a 9, they'll get to scuttle. But if you don't get close to the Termagants, you're not on the objective. And all I care about here is you not holding this one. I don't need to hold the top one that badly. But also, if you try to shoot at the Termagants, if you don't do enough damage, you run into the real possibility of killing a couple and then me being out of line of sight and being able to regen via the Tervigon back onto the objective. It's just a mess. So both objectives feel like they've got pretty good ideas for him there. This Gargoyle unit's going to go from my home field ruin up to this midfield ruin, just staging, getting ready to basically do what the other Gargoyle unit did the other next turn. We got 10 more Gargs in reserve along with a Pyrovore and 20 Gaunts all in strat reserve. So a lot of models is going to be getting on the table later. All 3 of my big, scary, shooty bug Exocrines this turn don't have great targets. And this is like such an important thing. If you don't have great targets, don't walk out into the open. Don't get shot at. I have so many more units here than Lucas does that I'm able to force him to shoot first, and there's no reason to take a step out before he does that and just get my dudes blown up. I don't have a lot of guns, and Lucas has a lot more hitting units than I do. I cannot afford to burn an Exocrine here. So just moving up, staging in some places, and then we're going to take some shots, do some fire and fading, and, a whole bunch of nonsense. So yeah. What do you think about this top one here, Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, I think the play you've made in the bottom right puts a real conundrum on me, right? Because if I poke my Forge Fiend out, then you can turn off Blast. And I mean, that is a precious CP for you, but then you'll have the objective kind of regardless. And if I commit the Warp Talons, then the Warp Talons are good against infantry, but they probably won't kill 20 models, just they have 20 attacks. So it's hard for me to answer a squad like that without committing like multiple things, and that's where stuff like Blood Surge can just get really problematic. So I like the kind of stranglehold you're trying to put on that objective. I think that's a pretty smart way to approach that. And then obviously in the top left, you're doing what you need to try to keep me off that objective with the gargoyles. So we'll see if that works, but it's definitely going to be a headache for me to try to work around that.
Yeah. One more piece of that that's really fun, you can kind of see in the left there, is the Spore Mine. Because obviously one of the ways that Warp Talons could get around this gargoyle move block is that, they only move 12, but they could also advance. And 12 and 18 are two very different things to try to screen. Spore Mine says you can't end an advance move within 6 of him, so suddenly he's going to have a real good time keeping those Warp Talons where I want him. Now, unfortunately, these Nurglings are actually creating a pretty solid pocket for Lucas there, because I can't end within an inch of them. So if they're able to get out of the way, they might be able to finagle a little bit of room for those Talons. So we'll see what ends up going down. But the Talons are definitely not getting over the gargoyles, and that's the most important part, in my opinion.
I'm seeing this now in hindsight. I might have wanted to spread those Nurglings out more, just to use their coherency to take up more real estate inside that building, so that pocket gets even bigger. Now that I'm thinking, I always like doing these game recaps because I can see all the things that I'm like, oh, that was annoying in the moment, but I could have not made it annoying by changing my play this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. We always talk. I know there's a lot of players who have a much better time on TTS than they do in person because they really like this perspective, and there's really nothing else in person that's like it other than, I mean, I assume this is what the table looks like to a man of your stature, but for the rest of us over here, it's a nice change of perspective.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely upsides and downsides to TTS, right? Like the classic thing is, oh, I can see the whole table. It's so nice on TTS, but there's also sometimes you just don't understand the angles or positioning as well as when you're seeing it in real life. So Death Leaper's going in for a turn 1 charge. Yeah, baby.
I thought about this for a while and basically decided that there's no way, I checked the measurements, there's no way that you can shoot at him. There's no way that Abaddon squad is charging him. And I want those Nurglings gone. So we're going to go eat their brains and have one fewer thing to worry about.
I wouldn't want to eat a Nurgling if I was you. They're kind of like gross little Nurgle poopers.
Mm-hmm. Got him. Great. Nice job, Deathy.
He's dead. I think that was actually my morale check. Or sorry, not my morale check, but rather
they died. He lost.
Desperate breakout.
Died to the desperate breakout attempt.
Big pog.
I love it.
So you got a 5 on Homer and you're ditching Outpost?
Yes, sir.
That makes sense to me. I will certainly try to. Unfortunately, this top or bottom right objective is just gonna be a little too problematic for me to assail. I end up throwing some Warp Talons at it, kind of out of frustration, just being like, well, I hope this works. And it ended up not working, unfortunately. But we are going to try to make some headway in the upper left. Tyler can bring back the gargoyles, but it's going to cost some CP, and I've got to eventually hack my way onto that objective. And if I can kill the 20 gargoyles, which is automatic because every unit in the CSM army hits insanely hard. Mostly just the Terminators killing them instantly. Then that should be a nice contested objective. One thing to always be aware of is when you have units with pick 3 abilities or any kind of battle shock oriented effects, those usually aren't all that impactful, but against armies like Chaos Knights and Tyranids and Demons, those can actually be really, really good for you and are worth considering. So Abaddon's Aura reroll hits, which usually is just the default. My default in this matchup is just staying in reroll morale checks and leadership checks the entire game. Because that messes with things like Shadows in the Warp, those primary swings that the Neurolictors can provide by battle shocking you in the Tyranid turn, just giving you a nice reroll morale makes that even less likely. So my Terminators are going to have a tough choice of whether or not they want to try to blitz down and attack Death Leaper. I ended up not doing that and instead walking over to just attack the Gargoyles, as you'll see here. Because that'll, start moving them. They want to spend most of their game on a midfield anyway. So regardless of whether or not it's the bottom right or top left, I should probably just attack whichever one is easiest for me to get to. And that one looks like the top left right now. So I'm going to charge on in, put Abaddon nice and close to those Warp Talons so he gives them a reroll in their morale. And hopefully that should be that primary denied. Unfortunately, these Warp Talons aren't really going to do the deed when it comes to taking out these Termagants. They should get about 20 hits on average, and then obviously 3's rolling to wound often will mean that they don't actually get the full 20 wounds. So some of those blue guys are going to survive, and they will end up causing some headaches in the late game. Terminators make their charge, and unsurprisingly, they're going to blunder everything here. I mean, even without the reroll hits, Terminator datasheet tells them to reroll hits when they make a Dark Pact. So CSM Terminators just have such an insane number of ways to get rerolls that, you know, you're always basically... One thing I love about this unit is how customizable the damage is. Right, like no matter what target you're fighting, you're always able to find a way to do some significant damage to it. Part of that is because Abaddon's just a hard-hitting unit, but also you can pick lethal 5s, you can pick sustained 5s. If you're going up against something really tough, then you can reroll the wound for a CP. If you don't want to spend that CP, then the Terminator datasheet always just gives you reroll the hit. There's just so many different options for how to make things most efficient. So I really like that quite a bit. And yeah, we're kind of just gonna accept that we have to slowly grind toward this objective here, and the Terminators are going to be making good progress toward that. Cultist sticking about home field as well. It was a bit of a mistake to not screen. Scribble should probably honestly be where he is right now in the deployment step, so that would have screened out my DZ in case Tyler drew home or behind on turn 1. So I'm glad he did draw that to punish me for my mistake. But there would have been a pretty easy way to screen that out. So now I'll screen it out so he's not going to get any behind points in case he draws that. But yeah, just kind of doing some cleanup here on the gargoyles and then making my attacks on the termagants. And I think I end up killing about 15 of them, or 14 or something like that. It is what it is. Would have been a fun extra no prisoner point, and also the unit kill would have been big when Tyler doesn't have the... You know, had to spend the 2 CP to bring back a unit somewhere else. But 4 no prisoners is fine for my turn 1, and engage for 3. Not too bad either.
Nice. Sweet. So, I'll be ended up picking up a 7 on the primary here, 2 for home field, 5 for that bottom right. You did manage to fit a warp talent onto that objective, much to my chagrin. So we're not holding that one down, but we'll get the 5, and hopefully we can do some serious damage. We're going to draw not a fantastic set of draws this turn. I'm going to draw Defend Stronghold and Engage on all fronts, which is fine, but without much of a good way to get into Lucas's home quadrant, that top right for Engage, we're looking at a 3 there, and Defend also at a 3 is, I don't know, fairly sketchy. I really would have preferred something that I can get a 5 on comfortably, and then something I can burn. These 2 sort of mid-tiers make it really challenging to decide whether to hold on to them or use CP or whatnot. So on the plus side, those 5 Warp Talons on the bottom right are about to get obliterated by Chagrin staring at them. And they did just fail their Battle Shock from the Neurolictor, which means they're extra dead, I think is the technical term. So that looks pretty good. Gonna check out some measurements here. Deathy really considers going down to hunt down the blue scribes, mainly for a command point, honestly, because, like I said, I'm looking for a CP because I'm not loving the idea of getting one from my secondaries here. But it ends up being just a little bit too far that I don't love it. I love how it would also move block the Forge Friend from getting anywhere near, and the Neurolictor could comfortably go hold that objective, because now the Terminators are way off. There's 5 more Warp Talons back there, but that's basically it. So I kind of dig that. But we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna do a little bit of damage on the top left, but I don't even remember what I sent in the top left here. I
think those 10 gargoyles are going to rocket over there, and then I overwatch them to death. So then you bring in, I think, the 20 man again.
That sounds about right. Yeah, here they go. Zipping on over. Gargoyles being a unit that basically moves 18 plus D6 every turn. Just absolutely fantastic at getting places, putting OC where you need it. Screens, move blocks, whatever you got to do. They're here for it. So they're going to go do that. And then I think you hemmed and hawed about this Overwatch for a minute here. At the time, it seemed like a pretty bad idea to me, but in hindsight, I think it was probably the right call. Forcing as much drain on my resources as is possible.
Kill extra unit seems not bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when the unit just natively has reroll to hit and exploding stasis.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's wild to me that this unit is not good. It does.
I mean, it is if it is a 500 point unit at the end of the, or like a 600 point unit at the end of the day that moves 5 inches. So that's probably why.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also very meta dependent, right? If we go back to a meta where like slow shooting armies and big bricks are really good, then yeah, the Abaddon Terminator brick is amazing because it can't be shot by slow shooting armies and it punches hard enough to kill any big brick. But right now we're in like a relatively dynamic meta where there's like lots of transports and little units and MSU, and the Terminators are either huge overkill or they never get to connect on something they want to.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, what about these? So the gargoyles just got mowed down, but you got a lot of stuff in reserve. You got 20 Gants, unless I'm mistaken.
Yep.
And then the 20 gargoyles that died last turn and 10 gargoyles in Deep Strike.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the plan for those reserves? What do you think you want to bring in this turn?
Yeah, I think the goal is usually with this army is to lose as few resources as is necessary to accomplish all the goals. And the main goal here is primary denial. Unfortunately, that's not going to take many resources at all. But the secondary goal here is to keep that Abaddon unit as contained as possible. I think I also see a snazzy play here where I'm going to try to get those engage points because, like I said, I really want a 5-point singular secondary this turn, and the only realistic way I can do that is to blitz up and go hit a 9-inch charge into that Forge Friend on your home field, which would deny a little bit of primary from you, which is great, and more importantly, keep that guy tagged so that my Exocrine can, and who's going to have to walk out here, can do so without fear of getting blasted in the process. So we're going to use the reserves to try to do some fun stuff here. It might be a little bit of an overextension, but at the end of the day, I trade 8 bodies for points, so we got to do that sooner or later.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world at the end of the day, right? Like the bottom right is looking pretty darn secure for you with the Exocrine kind of backing up those 2 lone ops. Whereas I feel like just a couple more waves of sending bodies at the right tempo to keep me off that upper left objective should mean that I hopefully don't get a ton of primary on it, at least until the later game.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna send up some Gaunts, try to get involved. I think they roll like a big 5 or 6 on their advance, so they're feeling like getting involved. They're gonna hop up like that, try to step it involved. I think I did this. I feel like this ends up being really redundant. I think I put too much out here in the hopes that somehow it's going to like turn into primary points. And I just don't think it is. I've played this army a lot since this, and I feel like I've gotten better at it since then. And I'm looking at this like, man, it's not the right play. But at the end of the day, we are gonna take the objective back. We are gonna stand and speak some places. We're gonna try to put some firepower out. It's really hard to judge Termagant firepower, especially in something like Terminators, where like you have a 2-up save, so like maybe nothing happens. But also maybe the Strangleweb Spike, or we'll work through some guys eventually and at least try to force you to spend some CP getting guys back, or start hitting you with more battle shock checks. Maybe Deathy gets involved eventually. Like there's a lot going on. This Exocrine is going to take the most extreme angle to make sure I get 1 shooting at the Warp Talon there, I think, without getting shot back by the Forge Fiend, hopefully.
Yeah, I think you've got Middleman here with a shot. It's a little awkward because of the parallax, but he's definitely got a shot on this Warp Talon here. Mm-hmm. And then this guy can be back up in case that doesn't do anything, or can shoot, obviously, down into any of these units.
Yeah. You might even have a shot on like the Rhino or the Nurglings or something. I'm trying to remember.
I think you do have a shot on the Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to prevent that or anything like that. Exocrines are honestly not fantastic in the Rhino
They're so
profiles.
Bad at killing chassis, dude.
They are. I mean, they're swingy at it, right? It really comes down to that wounding on 5 and saving on 5s. Like, could randomly do 9 damage. Like you did 9 damage to me the other day, but I've expected values like 3, if that.
Yeah, the wounding on 5, saving on 5s, but also the D6 plus 3 shots are just like not consistent into non-blastable targets.
Yeah.
especially when if I have to move to go see you, so I can't get the heavy benefit. And it's like 5 shots, hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s. Like, no, we're not. We're talking about a wound there. Hard pass. So we'll see. Here comes some gargoyles. Finally, as discussed. That looks like that's the 20-man. And they're going to try to do like 4 things at once here, as every good 20-man unit of gargoyles should. Oh, I miss playing this army in person. Playing too much CTS recently.
So you're going to finish your Blood Surge move, and then, you're going to finish your Fire and Fade move, and then I'm going to gotcha you with my Terminator Blood Surge move and end up in combat. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to then Blood Surge out of combat, which is a thing you can do.
Gamers.
Fun fact. People don't know this, but you can. If you spend the CP to go toward the nearest objective, you get out of combat for getting shot at. It's hilarious. Get into combat with somebody else instead. Anyway, so they're going to drop in there. They're going to try to be a big old net here to just kind of catch this Terminator brick. Yeah, Pink Squad should just have stayed back. I don't think they're doing anybody any good by standing that far forward. But I didn't pre-measure this far enough. I imagine that the gargoyles were going to end up closer than they were. And then here's that 10-man dropping in. They're just going to raw dog a 9 into that Forge Friend, and it's all going to be great, and nothing's going to hurt. But yeah. So we'll see what's happening there. I got some Gaunts back into Blue Squad to just make sure those Warp Towns are extra dead. I mean, like, it's free Gaunts. Why would I not? Yeah, looks like we're rolling some dice here. Let's see what happens.
So I think this is just... Oh, this is probably Exocrines activating into various Warp Talons. Yep, there goes, I think, 3 of those guys. 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I think it's 3.
Yeah. Which, could have been better, could have been worse, but... Kicks me off the objective. That's what's important.
Yeah. Just had to kill 1. So that's nice. We will lob in all the shots that we can into this Terminator unit. Because he can heal, but it costs some resources, and there's certainly not a better target available, so we'll go ahead.
Yeah, every CP is precious to me, so.
Yeah. As is every Terminator.
Yes. Gonna need them chain fist boys.
Mm-hmm.
So defense stronghold is a locked up 3, and engage on all fronts is at least a 3, maybe a 5. What ends up happening this turn, I mean, we'll kind of see the result of the charge phase here shortly, but there's only really one charge, and it's those gargoyles charging the Forge Fiend. They end up failing. So walk me through your thought process on why you ended up discarding defense stronghold at the end of this turn, because I feel like that was a pretty key choice that you made.
Yeah, absolutely. So did I spend a seat? Did I pre-spend a CP somewhere else? Did I reroll that 9-inch charge or something? I feel like I decided something was important.
I think yes. I think you rerolled that 9.
Yeah, I think that hitting that 9 would just be an absolutely massive swing, because it would tie up that Forge Fiend, which would be great, deny some primary, take off the sticky, force Lucas to turn around a little bit, and that would just be absolutely excellent. It would also end up move blocking the Terminators a little bit. There's just a lot to love about it. And at the end of the day, I basically had to decide, what do I value more? Rerolling that charge or 3 victory points, basically, for defense stronghold, because that's what it is. There's no way in hell you're taking that from me. And at the end of the day, I decided I wanted the reroll. Because it'd be a really nice swing to keep that Forge Fiend out of doing a lot of nonsense, taking that home field objective. Yeah, just decide.
Yeah, like just to me. Comparing the cost benefits, right? You're picking up. It's like a 30. If you spend the reroll, you obviously get to see if you make it the first time. If you do, then great. If you don't, then it's like a 30% chance to deny 2 on the primary, get 2 more on the secondary, unsticky my objective, tag my Forge Fiend, which has blast weapons. Just it'd be a huge headache essentially. So yeah. I feel like you probably made the right call. Obviously, the worst of all worlds is you spend the CP, it doesn't work, and then you have to ditch defend stronghold because that's -3 points overall. So like it was kind of a bummer, but I feel like it was like a big punishment if you went for the play and it didn't work, but it was a massive enough reward that you probably made the right call.
Yeah, a 9 is like approximately 1 in 3. And getting that 1 in 3 chance at getting 4, like I understand the expected value in theory is that I'm decreasing like 2 2/3 points, but I'm decreasing 2 2/3 points with a 1/3 chance of lots of upside. I think it's worthwhile. Naturally, like you said, given what happened, like it wouldn't have been, but it also doesn't end up changing the differential of the game, so I don't actually mind it all that much.
True.
Hindsight being 20/20 and all. But yeah. So we're gonna go for that. We're gonna shoot the hell out of those warp talents on the bottom. They're dead. Great job, boys. Deathy's gonna stay there just touching the objective, ready to rinse and repeat from last turn, basically. Or well, we'll see what happens. I kept the Gaunts off the board, kept the Pyrovore off the board. Don't need them right now. That was a mistake. The Pyrovores need to get on the board at turn 2. I keep wanting them to shoot turn 3 with a squad of Gaunts and then being shocked when I can't finagle like an 80 mil base and a bunch of dudes at 12-inch range. Like, shocker, dude. That's not going to work. It's complicated and difficult.
Well, I think on the WTC boards especially, right? Like those
absolutely.
edge of board strat reserve angles for short range units are like pretty damn awkward. On GW, it might be more possible to like put a Pyrovore in and then surround him with Gants so that everyone kind of has the same angle and lines of sight and range and that kind of thing. But on these boards, that's just not realistic.
Even in that world, I can usually tell where the Gaunts are going to need to be a turn in advance. And I don't want to put them there because some of them get shot at, but I can hide a Pyro pretty comfortably in that position usually. So should have brought a little more on. Everybody's on the... Yeah, so that's that. This Forge Friend is going to walk out, take a peek, do a bunch of... He got super pre-measured here so that Deathy is safe from him. And yeah. What are we trying to do?
He'll be able to shoot into those 10 gargoyles. I get 2 on the primary, which, going second against the gargoyle swarm is you don't really get much primary in the early game. You're hoping to get it on turn 3 and 4. And on secondaries, I pick up an interesting kind of combo here. I get Investigate Signals and Assassination. Assassination is going to be really challenging. Really the only character that's close to me in any capacity. I think your list only has 2 characters now, right?
3. The Turvagon, the Neurotyrant.
Oh, forgot about the Neurotyrant, yeah. Death Leaper is the only one that's really accessible to me right now. So I am, I could try to charge 10 Warp Talons in it, or 5 Warp Talons into him, but with Fight First, that's kind of a recipe for disaster. So Assassination is unfortunately just going to get melted down into CP. But Investigate Signals is nice. I got some Nurglings and Deep Strike. They'll be arriving and getting me a 6 in conjunction with Mr. Scribbles. So that's a nice consolation prize. Kind of funny that I'm able to get into all the corners of the table with how little board control I have right now. I guess it's not terrible board control. And at the end of this turn, there'll be a lot less Scribblies on the table. So, but yeah, really just trying to capitalize on those 20 Gants and Gargoyles being right in my face and like multi-kill them so one of the units will stay dead. And to that end, the Terminators do a shitload of damage. I honestly feel like if they put their minds to it, they could kill 40 Gribblies in one go. But with where the models are, it's going to be hard for me to allocate attacks how I want to. With the big bases, it's going to be hard to get into the targets that I really want to charge. So I just figure, let's get the Chosen out. Tyler's going to have his pick of the litter in terms of targets. I got Warp Talons in his face. I got Forge Fiends in his face. Let's just put everything out and kill as much as I possibly can, especially that Neurolictor. Getting those Chosen out means that Neurolictor will be taking some extra shooting, and then hopefully those Warp Talons will be able to polish him off. And I really want to get rid of that guy because that's just a unit. And B, those Battle Shocks could be really punishing in the upcoming turns. So just decide to get rid of that guy, and it ends up working out. There's a lot of anti-infantry 4-up devastating wounds between those Chosen and Terminators, so they just kind of gunned that guy down, which was lovely. I loved that. And unfortunately, Abaddon routinely continues his streak of failing to give me a CP. I don't know why he's so bad at that, but it's like a 80% chance of success, and I feel like I fail at 50% of the time. But you know what? It be what it be. And hopefully I'll get one in the fight phase. And worst case scenario, even if I don't get one in the fight phase, I will get it by discarding assassination. So it's really just seeing if I can spend more CP on my actual turn. Which would have been cool for the Forge Fiend shooting your Exocrine. He does some good damage. I think I take 3 from the Hazardous right here. And then I think I do I think you're down to 2. So I do 12 damage because you have 14 wounds. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think I do 12 damage to you. So obviously would have loved to kill you, but it's swingy with you being T10 and the random number of shots. So Terminator's charging in, Chosen charging in, just going to put a bunch of dudes on this objective to hopefully make it more challenging to take next turn. And especially with that Neuroelector dead, it might mean that I actually end up surviving and not being battle shocked on that objective, which would be sick.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, yeah. So Chosen going in there. It's important to try to not screw yourself out of attacks here because, these units are so intertwined with one another. If you split the Chosen 50-50, then half of each squad is going to die. Well, CSM, so probably the whole squad of both is going to die. But anyway, you might have a couple of survivors, and then obviously with Tyler's choice of casualties, it's going to be impossible for the Terminators to get to those models. So it's important to try to direct all of the attacks from one squad into one of these horde squads. And to that end, I actually end up using the undivided strat on those Chosen. And for the couple of guys that have to attack into the gargoyles, I reroll their successful hits and successful wounds to try to kill as few as possible so that the Terminators will have as many models as possible swinging, which I thought was a funny little play. But yeah, overall, just a pretty effective turn, continuing to clear through the shit. Glad I got rid of that Neurolictor. That was, I wasn't convinced that was going to happen. I figured between a couple of chip shots and the Warp Talons charging, I would definitely take him out, but kind of forgot how much anti-infantry dev is available to shoot in this army. And yeah, just trying to set ourselves up for some primary in the coming turns. How are you feeling about the rate of attrition in this game? I know you usually try to lose stuff at a rate that's, commensurate with how much primary you're denying.
It's going a little too quick. I'm not really sure what I was going for, slinging those pink gaunts up forward with their scuttle move. They tried to move block to keep as many Terminators off the objective as possible, make this whole situation awkward. They kind of succeeded at that, but in the process, they died. At the end of the day, right? The unit should have taken that 6 and moved back and had a whole other squad ready to move forward. I think I just keep underestimating just how much damage comes out of all of these units, hoping that I'll squeak by in some places that just aren't happening. I think I probably should have left the gargoyles up to move block as much as possible, taken the primary with them, and then the Neurolictor and Gaunts should just be way out of the picture there. The Neurolictor should be walked back so he's just within 12 of the whole chip, so he can definitely hit something next turn, but then he's not getting shot at and charged with the gargoyles protecting him, and he'd be screening out the investigate signal in the process, which is a thing that I need to get better at. Because just as much as you can always be planning for how you're going to get your secondaries, you can also always be planning for how you're preventing your opponent from getting their secondaries, and that's a level of screening that I need more practice with. So we'll see. I don't hate my current number of gaunts and whatnot, but if I had 20 more, I'd be feeling a lot better right now.
Definitely.
So over here, we're going to bring on that Pyrovore. We're going to try to figure out what to do with him. Like I said, he's really awkward right now because of the way everything's set up. But, we'll see what we can do. What are we drawing cards-wise this turn? It looks like I am drawing... oh man, this is an awful set of cards for me. It's not an awful set of cards. It's one of the, everyone's favorite sets to draw, but I have drawn Storm Hostile and No Prisoners. And I think this is the turn where everything's going to fall apart.
Did you see the Knight?
Oh, you put the Rampager on the table for a minute there?
Yeah, this is where we had to take a break for your call, and the Rampager appeared in combat with your middle Exocrine. Knights of Shade appearing out of nowhere. Sorry, I interrupted you.
But yeah, for sure. So, yeah. Man. This turn is scatterbrained, to say the least. One of the things that I find really challenging about playing this army and that I'm really working on is just how many things have to work in concert. When you have this much MSU running around and you're trying to solve problems that none of these units are like designed to solve. Other than like Exocrin's shoot it thing. Like, cool, dude. The Terminators are incredibly challenging to get to because as they can Nurgle shots out of 12. The Chosen less so. So we're going to try to line up as much into the Chosen as possible. We could start lining stuff up into the Warp Talons or the Nurglings in larger degrees to try to pick up those no prisoner points. But at the end of the day, in my mind, if I put the Chosen unit down, I'm slowing down the attrition by a significant margin because I can keep the Terminators tied up. I cannot keep the Terminators and the Chosen tied up. So if we can line this up just right, I can kill the Chosen unit, take the objective out from under them. That'll get me 7 points of secondary, deny 5 points of your primary, and pull a unit out of there that is really annoying to me. And I basically decide I'm putting my chips in the middle of the table. That's the plan. We're going to go for it. We're lining up all 3 Exocrin to get involved. We're lining up my Neuro Tyrant's going to get involved. We're bringing in Gaunts from Reserve. They're going to get involved. Like, we're going for it, dude. If I'm going to win this game, it's going to be with a move like this. So we'll see how successful it is. But I think in the moment, once I was done with this turn, I was like, man, what was I even doing? But I see it from this perspective now. Like, I think I had the right idea. It just was a big risk to say the least. What do you think about this plan, Lucas?
I like the plan. I feel like it was about 85 and 90% complete. I think there was a little bit too much like trying to tackle all the problems at once, which is definitely like the place I want to put you in as the CSM player, right? Like, here's all my little units. Oh, you drew no prisoners. Perfect. Please go kill them instead of focusing on my important stuff. I think you made the right choice in trying to burst down the Chosen. Like, the Terminators at this point, it's just, they can use the Nurgle strat if you try shooting at them. Just put your effort into the Chosen. They're going to AOC. You have the 3 damage strength 8 weapons. You can probably just put them down through the weight of shots at 3 damage. And, they're a very vital unit. They could get back on their Rhino next turn, which would be problematic for you in the long run. So, I feel like you made the right choice in trying to kill them in this turn where they're exposed. It also, if you finish off the unit, will get you no prisoners. And if you kill the Lord as well, it gets you an extra 2. So that feels like money to me. Kill one of the higher damage units with good mobility. That's particularly vulnerable at this moment and get rewarded in secondaries for it. Unfortunately, it just doesn't quite end up panning out on this turn. Mm-hmm. So, but the other thing is I have so many points right now still in my deck for being near backfield. Like, those Nurglings in the upper left can give you 2 on no prisoners just by killing them with those Gants. I think you end up putting all the shots from that squad into them. Do they just like miraculously live?
Something like that. Yeah, I think the Stranglewebs don't go into them, but all the little shots do.
Okay. Or maybe there's like issues getting people in range and line of sight or whatnot.
I think the Exocrin is just so awkwardly placed, and I end up not wanting to move him to preserve him hitting on 3s at least instead of 4s. And as a result, I don't get as much stuff where it needs to be, maybe. It might also just be that you're pretty far back there. That Pyrovore should have walked in on that top corner and been ready to pounce out to take cover off of whatever's in there right now.
Yeah, the Chosen without cover this turn would be huge.
But yeah, learning to see more turns in advance.
You live and you learn. These WTC boards are very unique in that firing angles are challenging.
Yeah, the terrain where the corner is literally touching the edge of the board, so there is no lane there, period, is not something that we're used to on GW layouts for sure.
Yeah, those are wild. They're like super rapid ingress friendly as well for strat reserves. Right, to be able to like bring something on not super aggressively, but completely within threat range of an objective. Like, imagine I'm playing CK, and on your turn 2, I get to rapid ingress a Carnivore right here when we're playing a defensive game. Yikes!
Yeah, no thank you.
But yeah, ideally, like, you kill these Nurglings, you kill the Chosen, you kill the Lord, you block me back for another turn. That's 5 on prisoners. You get to ditch hostile.
No, I think I can go take. I'm gonna go take that damn objective, dude. It's gonna be great.
Yes. This upcoming play made me a little bit aroused. I do have to say. I've never been charged by Termagants as Abaddon the Despoiler before, and it made me very happy. Mm-hmm. What's crazy is that it almost worked. Like 1 or 2 different model positionings, and all of a sudden that's a 10-point swing.
Yep.
So we've got the cultists running out, the Chads. That is, I'm realizing that I don't really have a good little shitter unit to run out and try to contest Death Leaper. So if I run my cultists onto their next turn, my OC1 cultist contests your Death Leaper, and that would feel funny.
Yeah, the cultists are like shockingly safe over here because, like, what am I going to do? Shoot an Exocrine at them?
Yeah, I'm not using the Nurgle strat anywhere else, so like if you do that, I'll just Nurgle strat them. I mean, that might not be worth the CP to me, but like, sure.
Yeah.
Shoot my cultist, dude. Death Leaper, I think, does end up going to try to munch on Mr. Scribbles.
Yeah, I think this turn I decided I gotta go for it, man. I gotta get something done here. I really want him to, like, especially because if I'm gonna full expose this turn, which is kind of the plan, the Neurotyrant's gonna come out and means he's gonna die the following turn. That means I'm gonna pop Shadows in your command phase, and that's generally when you want to send Deathy in, is right before you pop Shadows. So having him run over, if he could eat Mr. Scribbles' lunch and get within 6 of that Forge Friend for an extra -1 leadership, like, I'd be a very happy camper.
You leave Mr. Scribbles alone. He just wants to scribe. Especially because this turn, in theory, you have a plan to get prisoners and Storm Hostile. So if you can pick up that extra CP from Death Leaper eating his brain, then that's good. I mean, not that Death Leaper is in any way likely to kill Mr. Scribbles, but it could happen. Mm-hmm. You're like 1 or 2 Fort Bindles away from slaughtering him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, so here come the Gaunts. Gonna try to facilitate this. So the idea is all the shots that are humanly possible are gonna go into the what are they called? Chosen. We're gonna do maximal damage there. We're gonna show up at a deep strike. We're gonna hit a 9-inch charge into like the Nurglings or something, swing onto the objective, and the other squad. So that's an option. Other option is the Neurogaunts go for a charge into Abaddon and the Terminators to base as many people there as possible to keep them from getting that much damage out while the Gaunts swing up. Unfortunately, I can't really charge them without charging Abaddon, which sucks. Because
him alone kills most of a Gant squad.
Yeah, for sure. He's
also randomly OC4.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying.
So we'll see what we can do here. We got a lot of bodies that can be in a lot of places. We're going to see how the shooting shakes out and make decisions based on that.
There's also the 20 guys in Strat Reserve.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the 9-inch charge into the Nurglings coming up, brother. It's going to be great. This is like a really important thing when you play reserve-based shooting armies, especially Horde ones, NIDS, GSC. That's kind of it. But like, if you play NIDS or GSC, your 20-man dudes with guns, get them into combat all the damn time. The Lord gives you a 9-inch charge, take it. Just roll it. It doesn't happen every time. It doesn't happen most of the time. But every time it happens, it's fantastic. And people are not ready for more bodies in their face than they're looking for. Unless those people, of course, happen to be Terminators and Abaddon, then they're probably ready. But good principles. Oh, man. So we're going to get set up here. You can probably jump ahead a little bit in the video here. This is not the most exciting thing to watch. Set up a bunch of reserves.
The Gargoyles come in here just to prevent me from...
20 Gargs over there. And their job is to keep the Warp Talons from taking that objective from me. because I need that locked down while Deathy goes off, and they're going to keep the Neuro Lictor in good spirits there.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I like that play a lot.
Yeah, again, like I've already mentioned, it's hard for 20 Warp Talons kills 16 Gants, which means you still have 4 left, which means you hold the objective.
Yeah.
So that kind of math is a little scary for me. And if I shoot them at all, then yeah, I'll be able to kill the squad, but I won't be able to charge onto the objective because you'll surge into me.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of troublesome all around.
Sweet. So we do our best here. We're lighting up these Chosen. I think on the front end, it looked like it was going pretty well, and then it fell off pretty quickly in terms of output here. Just go away. Just go away.
I was chosen, Tyler. I will not go away.
Cannot believe we end this turn with 1 Chosen alive.
I was chosen, baby! So I think this is all the X, or maybe there's one more exocrine to shoot still. Looks like we're down to like
This is
4 chosen in the Lord. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of shots. This is Termaganthos. Barboganthos. I miss the Barbgants.
Me too.
I get why you took them out, because the exocrines are a really valuable aspect dynamic. But having those Barbgants was a really cool tech piece.
Yeah, they really help against like exactly this unit is the thing. I feel like because I play into this nonsense so much, I was like, oh, I gotta have them. But these days less so. If Terminators become a bigger thing again, they'll get slotted back in for sure. But yeah, they're not cheap, and as cheap as they used to be. They're what, like 60 or 65 points now. So we're talking like replacing like both Pyrovores. I don't know. Yeah, the list is in a nice little state where I feel comfy with it. I'm sure there's going to be another iteration. I don't think it's done yet, but I like what it does.
Me too. So here we are. Now we're down to 2 chosen Lord, more shots rattling in. Nurglings are dying. Everyone's dying. Oh, there's 1 chosen left. Sad Tyranid noises.
It's crushing. So many points. On the plus side, him not dying means that some of this combat's going to be a little bit easier to navigate in theory, but like, I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
So, you know, these gargoyles are just taking up all the real estate. And like you were mentioning at the beginning, blocking the place the Warp Talons can land seems good. So that I have to land in front of you, far away from the objective.
Yeah.
You also shot like all my cultists to death, which is super rude. I don't appreciate that.
Yeah. There's like 2 of them left.
The fucking heroes. I'm excited for them to take your objective.
They will not.
They will try.
Pitiful. All right, so the charges start. Sending Blue Squad in first. They're getting into both. So they're going to get into engagement range with... Or are they going into both? I don't even remember what we're doing here. I think we're getting into both, yeah. Getting within an inch of the Lord and then trying to base all these Terminators and whatnot to mitigate how much output they can swing into me. Really just banking on hitting this 9-inch charge with Yellow Squad, because, like, if that doesn't happen, I don't know what the plan is. But we do hit the charge, because as we said earlier, I've never failed 9 in my life. So we'll get.
Is there any merit to doing that first and then just not charging if that didn't land?
I get heroicked. Yeah. There's no world where I can land nearly enough dudes within range of the objective and not be within 6 of Abaddon and his squad.
I see.
Yeah, that was the thing I had. That's, yeah, high risk, theoretically high reward play if we can make it happen. But, man. I think I also ended up putting the Neuro Tyrant into the like 2 Warp Talons instead of the Chosen, hoping that that would kill them and be an easier no prisoner point, and I didn't kill them either, which was a bummer.
Yeah, the AP 1 and 2 damage kind of lines up better into them than in the AOC Chosen, but in hindsight, I agree that probably trying to kill that one dude was probably better.
Yeah.
Dude, especially because you would have shot the Excrin target, which would have given you reroll once to hit.
With my auto-hitting weapon?
Yeah, dude.
That would have been great.
100% hits.
I'll take 200% hits. That sounds good.
No thanks.
Oh, man. Playing around with that Nexus build, the Lothorus one, definitely makes me yearn for the Nexus Neuro Tyrant dude. She's so good.
Yeah, she's, what is it, +1 AP and damage?
Strength.
No, AP and strength, yeah. It is always damage too.
5-1-2 to 6-2-2.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I'll spare you all the like super technical combat shenanigans that are happening up top here. The punchline is it doesn't work. We get within 1 gaunt, I think, of it working. But we end up with 1 too few guys on the objective at the end of the day after we get hit by I think it's just Abaddon. Is it Abaddon that swings into the squad, or no, it's just the piles and consoles that make it hard. I don't remember why this doesn't work exactly.
I think basically blue squad was the sacrifice and yellow squad ended up not in combat with anyone. And then the Terminators piled in and engaged some yellow squad dudes because you had to like get those guys on the objective.
This right here. This is the messy thing is I'm trying to slingshot my pile consoles using this warp talent here to get me on that objective a little bit. And I get a little bit too close and get slightly too few Terminators engaged with me. Yeah, I don't know if I didn't do enough math or if it was a necessary thing. I'm going to say it was a necessary thing because it makes me look better on the internet, but it's a really hard thing to do to map out where every model is going to move after every model moves multiple times and some models get removed. Like, it's a tricky thing to do, and this was not my best execution of it. But very cool play in theory. Was very excited to get to try to make it work. Unfortunate that it didn't, but I don't know. Made you sweat for a minute.
Definitely. So no storm and
10 points don't change. Also hilariously, 10 points don't change the differential, so I don't mind that much.
Yeah. Wow, that is
alert.
Super cracked.
Yeah. WTC, baby. But yeah, so in come the Terminators. They're going to obliterate Blue Squad as predicted, but they're also going to get, I think it's 2 of them into Yellow Squad, which is just too many with your full rerolls and your exploding 5s. There's like 1 gaunt more than I can afford to here.
Yeah, I think those 2 dudes killed like 14 Gants or something stupid.
Yep. Yay.
Based Terminators.
Indeed. What are those like 2 gaunts in the bottom? Those casualties that haven't gotten pulled yet?
I think those are neuro Gants.
No, at the very bottom, like over by Deathy.
Oh. Yeah, brother, I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
those are Termagants. It's weird.
Basically, over the course of my own turn here, I just threw away 40 Termagants for nothing.
Sad.
Yeah. Not my best play. The bottom right's going fantastic. Still loving what's going on down there. We're going to keep getting our damn 7s, but that's a bummer. Whatever that is, it's very loud on the mic. I would advise you to put it away. Yeah, sweet. So what are you thinking here going into your turn 3?
Well, I mean, the URDZ is definitely opened up big time. So I'm just going to like put my foot on the gas and go. Terminators are going to have to eat a CP here to fall back and shoot and charge, which I'm kind of strapped for CP right now, but it's the most important thing I can do, so I'm going to do it. And going to also draw some cards that reward me for being up in your face right now. Well, I'll draw Stronghold, which is just kind of guaranteed at this point unless something crazy happens. And then behind enemy lines, those two Nurgling heroes and that one Warp Talon are going to yeet into your deployment zone and score me behind, which is going to be pretty sick.
But Lucas, that Warp Talon is battle shocked. How is he scoring behind?
Well, that's crazy, Tyler. You don't need to be not battle shocked to score behind enemy lines for some fucking reason.
Love it.
Gaming, dude.
Oh, man.
And then these Chosen are going to begin a hilarious battle with these 5 Termagants that does not end for several more player turns, which is embarrassing and hilarious.
Yeah.
Mr. Scribbles falls back.
Coward.
Yep. God damn it, I'm so mad that I touched that piece of terrain with that Forge Fiend. Why did I do that? Like, just such a ape-brained play.
Nothing can go wrong, dude.
I was thinking the only thing that was important was shooting the gargoyles / shooting the Death Leaper, but I can do both of that while not touching the terrain. I don't know. I'm a dumbass. The moral of the story is that Death Leaper is going to die, having not killed Scribbles. That's what matters to me.
He's going to be just fine.
He's going to be dead.
He's going to be bait for his big brother in the back.
He's going to be goo for the ectoplasm gods.
He will be respawned even better than last time.
Based Forge Fiend.
So what's this Forge Fiend shooting at up here? Up top?
I think he's... I think he shoots into the gargoyles. Kind of with the idea that it's so unlikely that my Warp Talons end up taking that objective anyway. Especially because you're holding onto your... Oh no, well, yeah. You do have Shadow still available, so the likelihood the Warp Talons clear out the gargoyles in one activation of melee and then survive both Battle Shock tests is pretty damn low. So I'm like, let's just get rid of these gargoyles. We're going to shoot them with the Forge Fiend, kill a whole bunch of them even if you turn off Blast. And then there'll be a couple survivors and the Warp Talons will mop them up, no problem. So, 3 survivors. I'm curious, you might have wanted to leave the 3 in the back. Because I think I had a pretty long charge there.
I have Termagants that are under full strength in the back within range of a Tervigon.
I suppose that's true. So you just want to get this squad back?
Exactly. I want the squad to die immediately so I can get him back on my next turn.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a weird part of playing the Gargoyle unit that you need to feed it to the wolves as quickly as possible in a lot of situations.
For sure. Forge Fiend deletes Death Leaper, the Chad, and then the Terminators charge in and slaughter the Narrowgants and that stupid brain bug. Get out of here, brain bug. Also end up killing that 2-wound Exocrine with some random piddly shots coming from the Terminators, which was nice. And yeah, feeling pretty confident about where we are. Unfortunately, didn't quite kill those couple of Termagants in the upper left that are behind this wall. Let me highlight that for y'all. I think I killed like 2 of them with the Lord and Chosen Man, which was just kind of pathetic, honestly.
A real melee unit, dude. They can't kill anything. Change my mind.
10 attacks, hitting on 3s, rolling 1/6s, explode, killing on 3s. 2s for the Lord. Oh no, this is a power fist, so everything's killing on 2s. I should kill like 8 guys, and I killed 2. You'd love to see it.
Learn to roll dice better, dude.
Learn to not roll 2s.
Unlucky.
Unlucky indeed. Alright, so points for this turn. I'll get my 3 on Stronghold, because not really much Tyler can do at this point to get there. The Gargoyles, we say they deep strike at 3, but really what they do is deep strike at 9 and fire in Fade 6, right? So unlike GSC, where they can just show up outside of 3, these dudes actually need like an initial landing spot that you can block out with screens. So it's going to be basically impossible for those Gargoyles to take that objective from me on their respawn. So I'll get 3 on Stronghold, and I'll get 5 on behind. At this point, I have definitely really put the pressure on Tyler to try to scramble for the last couple points here because he's starting to run out of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a 7 here, though. I've gotten 3 7s in a row, which is pretty damn good.
Absolutely. Can't stop, won't stop. But yeah, we're gonna see what we can do about it here. Because yeah, and you're at 4 primary right now, are you not?
I am at. I've gotten 2 and 7. I'm at 8. 9.
Because you got a 7 on turn 3. Yeah.
Yeah. After the Storm Hostile Gambit kind of flopped.
Yeah. Big bummer. Sweet. So we're just kind of counting stuff up here. Going to try to go for some interesting plays. We are going to draw cards-wise this turn. So I held on to no prisoners last turn. And I held on to no prisoners in the hope that I might be able to kill something on Lucas's turn. So for example, like Scribbles fails Battle Shock check, Desperate Breakout. If he fails that, that's a kill for no prisoners, right? And that would still get me another card. It's just kind of free points. And I don't think there's a lot of secondaries that are that much better than no prisoners for me right now. When there's like those 5 Warp Talons out there with their dick in the wind. There's that 1 Warp Talon up top just jerking himself off. Like there's a lot of piddly nonsense for me to go after. I think prisoners is going to be fine. And then this turn, in addition to that, I draw Area Denial, which is going to be a little bit trickier.
Let's go.
Lucas put his Rhino there. Did you put that there thinking about Area Denial?
I sure did.
You're a jackass. Damn, stop being so good at the game.
And then the Mama Turvagon crushes him.
You did not consider my brilliant plan to
Unfortunately,
send my mother.
I did not send in my mother, dude. Forgot to account for mommy, dude.
Bro, look out for mommy. She's coming in. The milkers up there will be scoring Area Denial. If she's able to somehow destroy this Rhino with her 4 crushing claw attacks hitting on 4s.
Don't ever call her milkers again. That's disturbing.
Yes, the Gaunts are going to run out here. We got to hose these Warp Talons because, like, once they go away, the only thing that Lucas really has that can try to deal with this objective is the Forge Friends, which, I have this 1 CP thing called Blast goes away, and then I'm not worried about that anymore. So that seems fine. And we're trying to get kills here, so we'll kill the 5 Warp Talons, hopefully. The Rhino, obviously, because you can't stop mommy. And then we will... What do we pick up? What's our third that we pick up here? Oh, I know what time it is. Time to punish Lucas's stupid mistake for touching the ruin time. I consider for a while here what to do with this Maliceptor Cough Cough Exocrine, actually, and the bottom middle there. Basically between shooting up and shooting over. And the odds that he actually does serious damage to a Forge Fiend, not that great. But man, if that guy goes away, this game just opens up so much for me. Because like Abaddon's going to do his little thing over there, but the Forge Fiends are what are causing the serious issues here. Because I've still got guys in a lot of places.
Who the hell killed these Warp Talons?
Bro.
Was it this Exocrine?
Yeah, that Exocrine's going to walk down, and then the Termagants are going to do a lot of work.
That is true. Warp Talons at the end of the day are just Space Marines.
Yeah, especially because I've got the Pyrovore who slipped in there, who's going to be able to strip their cover. Like, we're going to do good work here. Now, here's the interesting question, is what do you do with the Gargoyles? Because it is currently top of 4. So, basically my options are I can bring them in right now, or I can hold them back to ingress them bottom 4. The bottom 4 ingress is nice, because it allows them to do a lot more in the future, but with Abaddon's squad swinging down at full speed, he's going to be able to push me back real far, and with the way either the train is set up where the Forge Fiends are, I'm not that concerned about getting shot at in the position that I've come in at, so we are going to bring them in this turn, and we'll see where they go from there. So yeah, we'll light them up. We'll fire in... No, I don't even move that Exocrine. It's not that... What is that Exocrine shooting at this turn?
The Terminators?
I guess.
I'm wondering who the hell kills these. I mean, maybe you just kill the... Who the hell killed those guys?
I think
Was it the Termagants?
I think it was the Pyrovore plus the Termagants, dude. I think Mama might have shot them as well.
Wow, that seems unlikely, but maybe I'm just overestimating my
they
durability.
ran up to Mommy, and I think they popped 5's Explode. They popped Lethal Crit.
Oh, that could definitely be it.
That really increases the damage output from that unit. That strategy
true.
is definitely slept on. It does good work. Yeah, okay, so we got him down there. And then, but yeah, I'm so confused with Exocrine. Like, what are we
Just flipping off my Forge Fiend.
There we go. In comes Mommy. Yeah, so yeah, Forge Fiend explodes. Hilarious. And then Mommy comes in. Crushing Claws rips open that stupid Rhino because she's the best. And that Rhino's dumb. And scores Area Denial and 2 points and no prisoners. What is the third unit that I kill? I have that I got 5 points here.
Rhino, Forge Fiend, Warp Talons.
Oh, Forge Fiend. Yeah, sweet. So there's my 5 points. Hell of a turn. And I'll kick it over to Lucas, who's still only getting 7 primaries. So, like, I'm still up I'm going to end this game up primary if everything goes according to plan. So
why did I not Nurgle strat that Forge Fiend? I guess then you redirect into the Terminators, but maybe I don't care. That was probably a mistake. Maybe I didn't have CP or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I got to imagine it was a CP issue. Maybe.
Either way, things to think about for the future.
You might have. Oh no, I remember what you did. You Nurgle stratted the Terminators because both Exos were lined up at them. I fire the middle Exo at the Terminators. You Nurgle strat, and then the middle Exo has no legal targets, and then the bottom Exo fires at the Forge Fiend.
That makes sense. I guess getting shot by both of the Exocrines would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, both Exocrines can actually do a real meaningful chunk of damage there, especially when you're stringing back to there. You've already lost a couple Terminators. Looks like you're down to 8 of them. If you had lost like 5 right there, that would have been real bad.
For sure.
And also, what are the odds that the Forge Fiend dies? Like, that's not going to happen. Don't worry about that.
It was fairly low. That's probably why I decided to take the risk. My hero cultists come out in the late game, baby. Let's go.
Something like that.
The Kings.
And
then Lord and...
What are we drawing? What are we doing, Lucas?
You got your 5 on Denial and 5 on Prisoners. In response, I draw Target and Homer. I'm surprised I didn't discard Target here, but I guess I really needed my CP. It's probably running pretty tight at this point, and I'm doing well on secondary anyway, so probably not feeling too bad there. Homer, very nice and easy with those Nurglings in the backfield, right? So that's 5 points. And then Target, I'm going to make some kind of Hail Mary to take this. It's going to involve the Terminators putting their various bolt guns into Blue Squad, and then hopefully they don't surge into... This whole play is very unlikely. This is pure postulation, but if there's 5 points on the table, then I'm going to try to get it, especially because it means it'll deny Tyler 5 points. But... take this objective by shooting the Terminators into the Blue Squad tail here, shoot the Forge Fiend into what's left of them, and then hopefully Scribbles and the Cultists can charge in and outnumber at the end of the day. So kind of a rough plan considering they can turn off Blast on the Forge Fiend, which you do because you're smart. So it does not end up killing them, and I gotta bring it down to the charge. We're going in hot. Mr. Scribbles is gonna punch. That's never good. Great. Also got to make sure I save a CP here for a charger roll, because I think I need like a 5 or a 6, and failing that at this point would be completely catastrophic. So I had to like pre-bank that, especially because Abaddon doesn't always give you a CP in the shooting phase, unfortunately. So was definitely worth setting aside that in case he failed to roll the 2 up, which would have been really bad. But he annihilates the Turbigon, and his buddies do some damage to that Exocrine and tag it. Tagging Exocrines is an excellent way to kind of shut them down a little bit. They can still shoot out of combat at other people, but they can't shoot into combat, and then obviously other people can't shoot into you as well. So it's a nice way to kind of...
I think it's the biggest thing. We don't have any fallback and shoot mechanics.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it's just Nexus that can do that with their Exocrines.
Yep, just Nexus.
Yay, Nexus. Gunline Tyranids, so cool. But yeah, Homer's a 5, Target's a 0, is what it is. Made that play to try to take that bottom right objective for tempting. Didn't work, so at this point I'm just going to get rid of it because it's not worth enough to me. So get rid of that guy for not a CP because of Donnie, and send it back over for Tyler's final 7. 4x7 is 28 on the primary, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'll take my 28. We're going to draw Overwhelming Force and Behind Enemy Lines, which is not a bad combo at all.
Unfortunately, my trying to get Tempting Target Gambit served up 5 points on a platter for you, which is kind of cringe.
We got it was like a 2 wound scribbles and like 3 cultists sitting on this objective with me right here.
Yep.
Somehow it's going to be challenging. Like I barely make it happen, but we are going to kill those 2 guys.
Tyranids damage, everyone.
You love it, dude. And then Score Mines to the rescue. I'll take 3 points on behind. Thank you very much. Man, playing an army where you don't have at least one unit that deep strikes every single turn must be hard. I love playing on easy mode. But yeah, let's look at that done. My secondaries this game are pretty darn weak is the problem. At the end of the day, that complete donut turn of no Storm Hostile and no prisoners after the turn of getting just 3 on engage and pitching Stronghold, like that's a lot of not scoring secondary points for one game, and I'm only going to end up with 26 there. But what's interesting is that the gargoyles suddenly don't really have a job, right? Because usually I would love to bring them in late game, have them go out and grab, extend battle lines, secure no man's land, area denial, teleport homers, that kind of nonsense. But because they're not actually able to do that in any meaningful way, because all my secondaries are already pretty much taken care of, they're just going to focus on denying Lucas's bottom 5 primary. So these gargoyles are going to hop up. I'm actually going to advance them and hop up into all three stories. Or just 2 stories, actually. Of this WTC, this is a Mega L. I know it doesn't look like it, but trust me, it is. So we're going to get everybody on there, so there's no way that Lucas can out-OC me there. He just has to come in and kill them. And everybody that can is going to come dogpile on this objective. So we reevaluate for a moment where this Exocrine is going to end up exactly. Like, I go back and forth, and it's a whole bunch. Because Donnie is over by where the Turvagon was. He's so far away from the guys who are actually involved in the action. So we do our best to block this off. I think in hindsight, I probably should have just not advanced that Exocrine and just shot him, because Don's on the far end. You have to be pulling guys from that side. If I kill like 4 Terminators, I don't know if I'm killing 4 Terminators, though. That's kind of a big ask.
Yeah, you're probably not. I think it's better to just get in the right position. And I think you are standing in all the right places right now to try to make this annoying for me. Oh my god, the kicking of the thing. Oh my god.
Things are getting awfully tumultuous here. Doesn't matter that all the Termagates are in combat because they all have pistols, or well, the Spine Fists at least are pistols. And then the Neuro-Olictor runs in as well to get the finishing blow on Mr. Scribbles. Get me my final 5 and final 3. So I'm done. I'm scoring a total of 64 points. Can't score another one more than that. And all that we can do is hope and pray that we are able to keep Lucas off some objectives. There's no way in hell he's getting back onto that bottom right. Like, there's just nothing anywhere near there without, like, advancing and charging Abaddon over there, which is an interesting idea of a play. Honestly, maybe the right play, depending on what you end up drawing secondary.
Exactly. It's dual. Like, obviously getting the 6 for your home field is cool, but if I could get a 5 instead, that's cool. That would be basically almost as good. It really depends what these draws are, and I bring it down. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try to just take this home. Even if it doesn't end up working, I'll get 7 points, I'll bring it down, and that's enough of a consolation prize that I'm just going for this regardless.
Yeah, this was a bummer turn to bring it down. Really, really good swing for you there.
Yep, and the other one I draw is Cleanse. I think I actually end up spending a CP to fish for that because I draw something smaller.
You drew Secure No Man's Land?
Right, which would have been 2. So I end up picking up an extra point there. Auto-passing my Chosen on that objective. And here go the Terminators. They do some plinking wounds. They get a nice charge. And they will have no problem killing these Exocrine. And I think 3 dudes go into the have attacks that can go into the Gargoyles, and I kill, like... I think the math we did was... all these gargoyles are obviously on the objective because this is a 3-story ruin, I believe. Yes, that's a 3-story ruin.
Just enough are on there such that the casualties that get pulled off first are the ones that are off, so it doesn't make a difference.
That is true, yes. Because as soon as you have, I'm OC 12 at this point because I have 8 guys in Dawn. So as soon as you have 7 guys on, I can't take it from you unless I kill some of those 7 guys on. Oh yeah, because I need to hold it. So I kill. I think I killed exactly down to 7. I killed 13 gargoyles. I killed that pyrivore. I killed the 2 exocrines, but it's just not enough to take the objective because you are 14 to my 12.
Yeah. Sweet.
So I get a nice 7 at the end of the game. 7, I'll bring it down, 3 on cleanse, and we end up going 28 to 23 on primary in your favor, and 26 to 36 on secondary in my favor. Honestly, those mid-game secondaries just being very awkward for you probably swung this game out of a green for you, which is, I think, the expected result.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, if that nonsense play ends up actually working with that one more gaunt, I pick up 5 points on Storm Hostile, 2 points on No Prisoners, 5 points off of your primary. Like, things definitely start turning into a win here. But at the end of the day, I'll take a 10-10 out of this. Things could definitely have gone worse.
True.
Very cool.
Nice.
Sweet.
Well, I'm liking this development from the exocrines. They add a fun new dynamic to the swarm gameplay. So I'm excited to continue hearing more about how you play these guys in the future.
Absolutely. And I would like you to stop playing the Terminator unit because they're not meta and they're good against me.
No.
Damn it, Abaddon. Someday we'll kill him. Mom will have to challenge him or something. I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And with that all being said, I've been Tyler.
I've been Lucas.
And this has been a TNG BITREP. Tune in for our next upcoming stuff in 2024. We got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pike. We look forward to seeing you there. Take care, everyone.
Bye, idiots.